we'd driven all night in John Wood 6 Volkswagen, and I learned to drive, I'd never driven much, I never had a licence. John just said, put both feet on the accelerator and go. And he went to sleep in the back. It was a crappy little red Volkswagen. So 2 feet on the accelerator and just drove all night. Got to Bells and it was massive. It was perfect and massive. And I only had the standard, so there was 65, so I mean I had a nooserish board, like an involvement type board. And so I hated Jenny. Looked around for a board to borrow, and Dave Haynes from Queensland had this magnificent Pat Curran purple gun that he brought back from Hawaii in '64. He went over in '63, stayed a while and came back in '64. I said, Dave, could I borrow, please? And he went, all right, McTavish, but don't ding it. Don't you dare ding it. So I borrowed this thing. It's an elephant gun, at least 11 feet long. To get out, we went around to Little Rincon. Had a guy on the cliff above calling when we should go. Nipper Williams, while I was standing there, I watched Nipper come across a big wave, a good 10, 12 foot wave, in a stretch 5, a Strauss 5, on a 10 or 12 foot wave, fair across Bell's Bowl, all the way, and made it. You go, Nipper. I suddenly had massive respect for Nipper as a surfer, to see him do that. Robert Keneally was out, and he rode a couple of big waves. There was only 3 or 4 guys out, and Terry Wall was out. So the guy at the top says, I think this is your best chance. So jumped in, paddled from Rincon, aiming for the bowl, hoping I knew the current would carry us down and hope we'd end up at the button by the time this got to the set. Rolled through the first 2 or 3, clear, got to the button and got out. And paddled out further and further and further. Robert Keneally was out there. And I said, Bonza, hey, are we in the right spot? And he said, I think so, but there's some very big ones coming through. So I said, well, I'm going out further because I've got this gun that'll catch anything, So I went out past Bonza, way out and around. There was only him and me out there, if I can remember. Maybe Terry Wall might have been there. It's still out there. He rode a few good waves that day, mate. So when I caught that one, the first one, straight up. There was a really monster set came through, and I cracked that first one and made it well down the line. It was sort of a stiffish turn I'm doing at the bottom, and I thought the board's a horror show because it's so big and stiff. And I realised I had to stand further back on it because otherwise it was just bowled under the nose and didn't want to cooperate. So I rode one long, big one and kicked down. Well, I can do better than that. So paddled out again and waited this time for something serious. And then when the biggest wave, in half an hour, this thing came through, and I waited for the second wave of the set to make it clear, boils on it. Took the thing, and the board went like lightning down the front, and I thought, oh, yeah, this is sweet this time, and I was back on the tail, and the turn came round smoothly. And then I made the rash mistake of stepping forward, which I thought was from a trim thing, which you do in smaller waves. And the thing sort of lost speed because that bowl came into play. And the lip was looming, and I'm going, I'm not going to make the thing. And so I go into a lower crouch, and next minute I'm just bing, and I'm gone. And you know how Bell's, it's got a big, on a wave that big, it's got a big ball of water on the top, and then it's got a big slope underneath. And the ball of water wouldn't let go of me, so I'm going around in the washing machine, around and around and around. I said, I'm going to drown here. I'm just going to, because it's not getting any shallower, you know how it does that at ledge. I'm just going to stay tumbling around in the white water. I quickly went, my logic said I've got to become a paddle pop stick here. So I went dead stiff. And so instead of tumbling like this, I suddenly went stiff and I started to bounce awkwardly. And then I felt solid water. And I went to the solid water, clawed into solid water, let the ball of water go by, and then head for the surface. When I got to the surface, the foam was so thick that I couldn't float. It's all bright white here, but the foam was so thick and twisty that I did really just lunge myself up to get air, And if I wasn't 21 years old and bulletproof, I probably would have succumbed that day. And it was the worst wipe I ever had, without a doubt. Well, fortunately, Dave's board washed onto the sand, and he rescued it, so it didn't get dinged. But I had trouble getting in because I'd got carried right down to the button.
Yeah.
And so I think I can't remember if I've been carried around to Winky Pop several times, and had to climb up the cliffs and come back around. I can't remember that day how I came in. I might have made it in the corner.